WBG. They could pick the AD carry to pair up, or just take a jungler. And honestly, HEcarim Ryze would be a pretty dirty mid-jungle combination for the team.
Certainly could be a strong one. HEcarim has quickly skyrocketed to be one of the highest priority junglers in the LPL because Xin Zhao, Lee Sin very often banned away. There's a few bans that we will see come out, but HEcarim seems to be one of the consistent picks these days. And I'm curious if LNG are going to go for trying to take that Ryze away, because Twisted Fate available as well. Remember, that's a high priority for both teams. Wasn't seen last game.
I feel like the Ryze makes so much sense. Like, one of the issues that you sometimes have with the Zeri is like, no, sorry, with the Ryze is that against longer range champions it could struggle, but Zeri is short range. They go for the Nautilus instead, so clearly concerned about the Zeri, and the Nautilus is a great answer as it has that point and click CC.
TheShy is in the game. TheShy is in the game. This Zeri's going to be a solo laner. Oh my god. Doinb's giggling it. Wait, that's not Doinb. That's a Weibo player. My brain just broke. Someone was giggling away anyway. Was that TheShy? I'm not even sure. Anyway, it's Viego locked in here. And Ryze comes through for Angel. This could be an actual pick order for Weibo. Who knows? As Light goes for the Samira.
Yeah, so wanting to pick something that can get into the face of the Zeri, right? We've seen the Tristana before picked into it, something that can dive onto and bullet punish it. Going for the Samira here. Banning the Alistair is obviously something that does well against the Samira. Can just headbutt her away when she ultimates. They're clearly trying to focus down bot and kill, but my concern is you've given over the Ryze, which is obviously so effective at contesting priority and roaming it down. Camille already taken, so that honestly weakens the Galio a bit. I could see Galio being a big pick for Doinb though, because in my mind I'm thinking, what are you going to pick that's going to be able to match Angel's roams? Because if you want to smash bot, you need a mid who can effectively do that. Orianna will get banned away as something that has that strong priority in lane, and also that good scaling with the team.
Bragg is sticking off the board as well. Let's see where we go, because remember that Twisted Fate that we talked about, an option, but honestly, who knows at this point? Like we said before the series starts, both Angel and Doinb, these mid laners that have infinite champion pools. They will go in any direction that they feel they need to win a series. The Viego taken off the board. This has been like the sneaky pick that keeps getting forgotten about in drafts and then takes over games. Doinb, big grin on his face there. I feel like he was looking towards that Viego.
I feel like you have to take a mid lane pick here, leave Olive for the counter pick, and see where the Zeri is going, because you don't want to blind pick something when you don't know where it is going to be. They are toying with the idea of the Galio. This does make that Camille ban hurt a fair bit more, because honestly, if you look at that composition, imagine if they could lock in a Camille to round it out. It would be beautiful, especially into the Zeri, who is so mobile. But they will lock in regardless. The Galio obviously is something that can match the roaming potential of the Ryze. This very much feels like LNG got a hard play through bot for Weibo. Looking at the Leona, good matchup into the Nautilus. Looks like they may just end up going for that one.
I mean, look at this team fight right now from LNG, right? They have so much to work with in a 5v5. There's so much protection for this Samira, and it feels like there's so much more early game presence than what we saw last game, right? That was our big criticism, was that they weren't proactive enough. But Weibo, they're like, well, if you're not going to ban it, if you're not going to respect it, we're just going to lock the Sion in again.
And honestly, this means Ola's in a pretty decent position to just blind basically whatever he wants in this situation. Knowing that he's got up against the Sion. Probably another Jace again, because that matchup did not go well. And bear in mind, we expect them to be playing through bot, right? We expect when you got a Samira Nautilus, you want to play through there. Fiora would add a huge extra element. Really difficult for the Sion to keep up with in the late stages, and it will be Arlen locking it in. Has the Fiora, that super scaling side lane carry. And honestly, you look at the side of Weibo, TheShy is a super tank. SofM is going to be tanky. Angel is probably going to be tank Ryze, and On will be tanky. A lot of value for that percentage HP true damage.
Yeah, and you know, Ala has been a player that's been criticized pretty heavily across the course of this split, not having the same level of performance that we got used to last year on LNG. But in game number one, his Jace, after a pretty rough laning phase, managed to come online. Multiple kills found onto Huanfeng, consistently being in the right place at the right time later on in the game, and now brings out his Fiora. This is one of those picks that there are a select few top laners in the LPL that will lean to this when they have an opportunity. Aleph falls in that category. He's got a 60% win rate over his career on this Fiora, and it does so well into the Sion as well. I cannot wait to see this top lane matchup, and I feel like Tarzan and SofM, they have got to make an impact up there.
Absolutely, but like the problem is, right, both your side lanes are pretty valuable. If you let the Fiora go unchecked, it's going to be problematic for Weibo. But bot lane, both AD carries, very short range, very aggressive, engaged supports. I really think the work is going to be cut out for these mid jungles for where they want to apply the resources. Both side lanes have a lot of volatility involved, but honestly, if you look at Weibo, you know, if you get the TheShy ahead, it's nice, but it's never really going to stop the Fiora from scaling up to be a monster in the side lane. Whereas if you go bot, if you get this Zeri fed, that could just be game over.
Yeah, I mean, it really could, because, I mean, honestly, on both sides of the board in that bot lane, if that laner gets ahead, the game could just be over. Zeri or Samira, they both are capable of completely taking over a game. Ala already found a very aggressive trade on this top side. TheShy knows that, and he just walks away. That's not a fight that he wants to take right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Both mid laners with their roaming picks. We talked a lot about the mid jungle for LNG last time. They didn't really get it rolling. Now it's kind of going to be a competition between them. I do feel like there's that big strength in the team fights from Weibo. You know, the recess from the Viego. The fact that they have the super tank in the Sion and the Zeri as well. Very threatening. LNG, they have that side lane win con with Fiora. Now, Weibo actually pushing in here. And they won't actually be able to get a ward down. You got to be so respectful of the Galio level 1, right? Could just channel a taunt and have his team fly in.
So I was just having a little look at some statistics there. I was just talking about, you know, how Ala 60% win rate on this Fiora, very impressive stuff. Well, I decided to have a look at the TheShy as well. See what his win rate is on the Sion. Well, it's 66.6 recurring percent. This guy has played, well, actually no, slightly more than that, because the last game won't be included in that, but 10-5 was his win rate before this series began on the Sion. It's a prolific pick for the player. And we've seen him win matches that he's supposedly counted in before. We've seen that happen over the years. We'll see if Ala is going to be up to the task, because the TheShy has been firing on all cylinders. It feels like he's back here in the LPL. But I'm excited for Ala to be able to prove me wrong on this one with such a great matchup for himself.
100%. And again, it's going to take time for the payoff, right? I don't necessarily expect Ola just to start slamming him now, right? But eventually gets to the point where late game, you do so much damage. The ultimate, you basically deal 100% of the target's health and true damage with 4 vitals, which obviously you just can't itemize against, right? That's the insane thing, is percentage HP true damage just isn't good when you're playing a tank.
Yeah, percentage true damage is, it's a mechanic. It's definitely a mechanic. Tarzan smites the blue just in time before SofM's able to steal that one away. But SofM should be able to at least grab himself this Scuttle Crab, but perhaps wants a little bit more light. And LvMao moving over, though. SofM, mate, you've got to be a little cautious on this one. Sweepers coming out from both LvMao and On. As SofM moves around the top side here, Smite not available for Tarzan for a couple more seconds. They're just going to keep the Grump there. The Smite comes out from SofM. Does get the steal in the end. Now can move over towards the Scuttle Crab, which still hasn't spawned just yet. Still a few seconds away.
Yeah, I like the aggression, though. This is what you can do into a HEcarim. In those early levels, not having the flash makes you a little bit vulnerable, and obviously doesn't have the mobility of the ultimate. I think as well as that sometimes you see HEcarims clear both the blue buff and the Grump at the same time. We saw Tarzan doing that on the Diana last game. You can be so vulnerable. I've seen clips where people just walk in and he's like 10% HP, trying to juggle them and then just gets blown up. So Tarzan kind of smartly not going for that in this situation where he could be threatened. But we do see bot Scuttle has been taken by SofM. He's going to get top Scuttle as well. And he still has his entire top side to clear. So despite the fact that CS is relatively close between these two, SofM has a ton of camps he can now cash in on.
It's currently close. It won't be soon. And that's crucial, right? Because that's why you pick HEcarim, or at least that's one of the reasons, right? The ability to power clear, the ability to just farm better than everyone else. And when you get invaded on your Grump, you lose both Scuttles, and then Viego can go and clear the rest of his jungle. That's bad news bears for the Horsey.
Absolutely. And so far, you know, we're waiting for those level 6 points for the mid laners. That is when really things start to get exciting. We start to see some pressure come down. Top lane, both of them just trading pretty heavily. But again, Fiora will scale up. And whenever you can find those trades, those quick snappy ones where you get to proc the grasp, always really valuable. That stacking HP does pay off in the end. And yeah, not much you can do there, LvMao.
Duking it out. Yeah, just gonna hold the wave there. Nicely done by On to hold that wave for his AD carry, and they can actually freeze that now. So Huanfeng and On will be able to build themselves a minor CS lead in that bottom lane, you would expect. So LvMao has to head back to base. So far, TheShy doing an okay job on trying to maintain CS in a lane matchup where really he cannot trade. He cannot go toe-to-toe with Ala. And you can see the lead is starting to build for Ala. There is a wave that will crash towards TheShy, but even still, the advantage for the LNG top lane. I want to revisit the junglers, though, because they're both grouping up around this bottom side with Drake spawning.
You see, SofM does have that CS advantage, and once again, they're trying to re-invade on the Grump. They have the timer for it. This is a bit risky, though, because it's a 3v2.
It certainly is. Zeri starting to move over now, and she can zip across a lot of terrain, but Hook comes on through. LNG just commit to the fight. On has to flash out. SofM does not get the Grump. Still flashes out off the back of this one, and now he's getting chased down. You can't get over that wall, SofM. He doesn't have his ulti. He doesn't have his flash, and he's taken down. This was a huge overstep from Weibo.
Yeah, I kind of don't understand it, right? Because you know it was a 2v3 in that situation. They commit so heavily for the Grump. I think they need to revisit how much a Grump is worth, because it's definitely not worth the amount they invested for it. And in the end, I'm not even sure if they actually got it. I don't think that SofM did, because he's still on 36 CS coming out of that. So we're going to replay. We'll see if this was all, if they actually even managed to secure the Grump. But ultimately, again, you have the three members. Look at Zeri on the minimap, nowhere near. And it's just such an overcommit, right? On things, I'm a Leona, I'm super tanky, gets bursted out. And then we see it's actually Tarzan who picks up the Grump there in the end. SofM does smite, but isn't able to finish it off.
Yeah. Desperately trying to make that play worth it. And I think they could have backed off. They had time to actually just back off, and they committed. They were like, you know what? This is my Grump. It's not about the CS at this point. It's about, you know, signing an eviction notice, as the pigs would say.
You know, I kind of would have understood if they went in there and then they turned the corner, all of LNG are there and they died. They saw LNG and were like, you know what? We're still going. There's only one direction and it is all in. And yeah, I mean, kill for Samira, definitely nice, but we still haven't seen too much action before the bot lane. And I wanted to talk back to the fact we're talking about these mids. They now both have their ultimates online. It definitely means a lot more agency when it comes to these plays. I do think, though, we're waiting for the junglers to hit 6 as well. Both get a massive spike at that point.
We have to revisit the scoreboard, though, and look at some of the CS deficits, right? Because there's a 500 gold lead for LNG. A huge portion of that is in this almost 20 CS lead that Ala has up in the top side. But that's kind of being mirrored by Angel in the mid lane as well. Doinb having to move over for that play around the Grump where Angel could just sit in the mid lane the whole time. He has found a 20 CS lead in that lane as well. It's 10 CS for Huanfeng down in the bottom side. So feels like quite back and forth amongst the laners, and a very quiet early game comparatively to last game. Well, or at least low kills, maybe not quiet. I'm not sure that's quite the word for the invades that SofM's been pulling off.
That's why they went for the invade. It was too quiet, and they were like, you know, we've got to make something happen. Got to keep things interesting. But yeah, I mean,
itchy feet. Here we go. Ala all in on the top side. TheShy with a great knock-up, stands next to the wall, stops those vitals being procced. TheShy knows this matchup. You ain't finding that opportunity.
Yeah, playing with fire a little bit there, because if he obviously did get riposted on that ult, but I think he timed it in a way that was very difficult for Ole actually to counter it. Such a close range. Gets away, just ult for ult in that situation, but Ole just continuing to trade and try and find as much of an advantage as he can.
And look at this, the bot lane's moving on over. Huanfeng already on that top side of the map, so Weibo with the advantage for now on this Rift Herald, but Light is on his way. Ala is actually incredibly low on HP, whereas TheShy a little bit more to work with if the top laners do get involved. But I think they might just stay top. And I think we might just have a 4v3 for the time being, as Huanfeng goes for the ulti here. Starts to build that passive stack up. But for now, it's going to be a disengage on both sides. LvMao re-engages for the play. It's going to be Herald taken by the side of Weibo. But can they win the fight? Great ult by Doinb to protect the AD carry. 2 for 1. In LNG's favor, but TheShy just walks in, grabs the Herald for himself, but he sacrificed his life for this. Both solo laners will fall. Light is huge already. 3 kills and 2 assists for the Samira.
They absolutely crushed the fight there. Light just kept getting reset after reset. I feel like they did a really good job of just focusing down targets to allow for that. Weibo really not feeling comfortable in that one. And just frankly crushed. Yes, they get the Herald, but it's a very small consolation prize. We sort of see as the replay comes in, they opt to go and prioritize the engage initially, put a fair amount of damage onto this Leona, wait out some of the defensive cooldowns, and then they look for the re-engage when, you know, Leona doesn't have the tools to make a tanky, so she just gets basically deleted. That's the first reset coming in. And then SofM goes so deep to try and get the reset himself. It's just much better target selection out of LNG. And then this great play from Doinb. The CC gets layered. Light has prime opportunity to burst down the Ryze. Remember, this isn't, you're not really a tank Ryze yet. You have to build items to be a tank Ryze.
And honestly, that's 2 plays in a row now that Weibo are the ones starting. You know, Weibo are the ones pushing this forward as LNG have 8,000 of something. I've got to assume that's kills. Apparently that is kills. So 8,000 kills on the board for LNG. Congratulations, LNG, across their career in the LPL. But crucially, I feel like Weibo are the ones starting each of these plays off, right? And just way overstepping. I feel like they're playing like it's still the end of that last game. Like they've still got that massive gold lead.
Yeah, it just felt really overconfident and a bit disrespectful. I also think SofM, like, it's so important in those early skirmishes that Viego survives till the end because he gets so much value out of the resets. Committed way too early. Like, that's the difference between the Viego and the HEcarim. The HEcarim can kind of just, get in a fight here.
I guess we're going. LvMao, the target, is on, just charges on forwards, and the rest of the squad is here as well. I don't think they'll find more than just the support, but at least it's a pickup for Huanfeng. At least it's something.
It just looked like LvMao was like, when he was walking around, like he was trying to think, how can I get over this wall? It's just not possible without your flash, dude. Unfortunately, they still get the dragon as the sort of payoff, but I like this play from Weibo. They bring their whole team down bot. They don't get the dragon. Oh, Angel. Just gonna get chunked out here.
Yeah, cheeky little trade from Doinb. On is not messing about today. He sees an enemy, he goes in. Solar Flare onto Tarzan. No follow-up from the team, of course, because that would be ridiculous. And On goes down for his trouble. That was maybe the most off he's been all year so far.
Yeah, On definitely switched it off there. Not sure what was going on. I like the play of them grouping down bot and going for this tower, using the Herald in this manner.
Oh. He was buying time. Maybe it was On after all as SofM comes in as well. Looking for the resets. Tarzan low on HP. But Light gets the ulti. That's what we call style. As he grabs yet another kill for his team. But TheShy in his passive trying to get some damage down. The shield bow comes up through. TheShy, it's not even his passive. He's still going. There's another kill for Light at this point. And Huanfeng trying to escape. But Doinb gets the taunt just as Huanfeng gets over the wall. Cleansed to keep himself safe.
But this whole passage of play, yes, the first tower went over to Weibo. But that losing a tower on the top side to this Fiora. This Fiora is getting solo farm. And LNG are still trading up in terms of kills, right? Light is so strong right now. It just feels like Weibo keep throwing everything they can at LNG and it's failing. Now they're looking for it again.
Onto Light once more. There's Zap coming on over the wall as well. Angel moving in. On is tanky, but how tanky? As Light gets his style points up once more, the Inferno trigger out and sets Angel ablaze. Doinb comes into the bottom lane as well. And everything Weibo do goes pear-shaped. But actually, they're surviving. Angel finally goes down. Doinb low on HP, stunned up as SofM joins the fray once more. And Weibo somehow come out on top.
I actually thought, right, because Doinb stopped Angel from following up on Light. And I was like, Light's going to get the turnaround. And then On kills him in the end of that play. Super clutch. And just when it felt like the game was getting out of the control, Weibo managed to answer back. And now Huanfeng 3-0-2. All I look for an all-in.
He certainly is. Good luck, TheShy. You're going to need it on this one. Even if he can't get the last vital, it does not matter. He will just whittle you down. The shield comes out, but it's too little and it's too late. Ala, solo kill onto TheShy, who is 0-3-1. We get both versions today.
This is going to be a long replay, I'll tell you that much. It was a nice, solid engage from TheShy, but the problem is you now don't have any CC tools for Light, and he holds his dash so well. He actually flashes here to avoid the knock-up. Then here in the situation again, he stacks up, he waits, and as soon as TheShy starts channeling, manages to dash again and avoid it, but did end up being a bit of an overstay on the back end. And the critical thing I want you to watch On here, because my thought process was obviously Light is getting pummeled down a little bit here. They managed to get onto him, but he actually escapes on the back of Doinb turning up. So he dashes here, manages to force them away. And then when Doinb comes in, I feel like Light was like maybe able to turn this around because he gets this taunt onto Angel, but On just kills him, right? With the W popping.
I love it. I love it. On, I mean, look, Weibo are feeling aggressive today. That's my only conclusion that I can draw out of all of these fights, because the massive lead that Light had before, he's actually behind in gold. Look at the gold difference right now. 200 advantage for Huanfeng, who's picked up 3 kills and 2 assists in that last fight. And, you know, sure, you've got a big lead for Allah up in that top side, but Sion is still going to be a huge tank in the team fights. That's still going to eventually happen. This Ryze ain't going to slow down. Light slowed with the solar flare. Now another fight in the mid lane as LvMao goes in. Knock onto On, but knocked away by Tarzan. On will go down. First casualty of the fray as the knockup doesn't land onto Allah. And LNG essentially just get a pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just difficult to continue with the engage there. Really heads up from LvMao to block the attempt onto Light. And again, they burn all of the tools trying to pick the Samira, but don't find a LNG turn around. All if might found Angel.
Angel's in a bit of trouble. No flash available for him either as SofM tries to protect his mid lane. And Tarzan just goes under the tower and immediately gallops out the other side again. The speed of sound as he gallops across the rift. And now over towards Herald.
Yeah, they can head over, get some vision control, but they are going to reset. I think a lot of tools down and unavailable. But definitely both teams itching for a fight. And, you know, they were in game 1, but I feel like the compositions here really set up for it. They have so many engaged tools. They have the ultimates that have the roaming potential. Both AD carry, short range, super aggressive. Really hyped to see. Now, Weibo currently the ones who have a few more members on the back, but LNG might just be looking towards this dragon. It would be the second of the game where they can secure it. It looks like there's going to be a trade off these neutrals.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, this is always one of those trades where I'm never sure who wins, right? First off, it depends what kind of soul we get, but with the Cloud being the first Drake... Oh, look at you. Just have a cheeky look at the trash. You know how it is. With the Cloud being the first Drake, you'd expect the Dragons to be very valuable this game. Should be a relatively good soul. Will be the Hextech soul once again. We've had a lot of Hextech souls today. But on the other side, it depends what you can do with this Herald, right? That's the crucial thing next is what can Weibo get?
Yeah, and I think the thing is you probably see it being used mid to break the tier 1. Definitely can be a massive advantage, particularly when you're playing into, you know, such heavy engage. If you do step up traditionally without a Herald to try and contest it, it's so easy for the enemy team just to say, right, HEcarim, go. So expected there. It's about low enough that the Herald and maybe a couple of autos will take it down. In the meantime, we did see Allah just picking up that bot lane tier 1, and this Fiora is going to continue to be an absolute menace in the side lane. Like already the fact that there was that solo kill on TheShy, but now is going to continue to hit critical mass. 2 items is a massive spike, and it only gets worse from there.
Yeah, he certainly does. The Collector as well, really huge with the ultimate from Light. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Collector as an item, but Samira specifically, right? Because you're doing such a small amount of damage with each tick of the ultimate, you have a very high chance of getting value out of the extra passive on that Collector. So
plus the
really,
big numbers
really
are very flashy, very stylish. So
that's
definitely
true.
On theme.
9999. That's all I'm saying. You can call the police and then one.
I don't know how to go with that one, dude.
Yeah, stalemate on the caster desk. If you're American, you can't call the police with that, though. I will say, worth mentioning. On, moving into the bottom side, he wants a 1v1 with Allah, who's currently 5 levels up on him.
Yeah,
you need to be cautious here, On.
Yeah, I think he's got some vision control down the area, which is always valuable, right? Because obviously one of the big things is if you have vision freely, Allah can just keep pushing endlessly and become a bit of a pain in the side. He will obviously try and clear some out and head over here, just roam up towards the mid lane, group up with Tarzan and clear some vision. Actually, may have found On here.
Solar Flare onto Allah here. The team fight Fiora coming on through, but flash forward to get back onto Allah once again. He used the riposte so early in the fight. It means that he's just taken down. Huanfeng right next to him. Allah way overstepping.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, he was like, okay, you put some wards down bot. I'm going to come mid and die. And that'll show you. That'll really prove to you. And now, with that pressure not in the side lane, TheShy can group. He can look. Oh, engage comes in.
Huanfeng's caught, and look at the combo. LNG don't let Huanfeng play League of Legends today as TheShy flashes to ult himself out to safety.
Yeah, I feel like Tarzan might have been able to ult in front of him and block him, but didn't want to commit too heavily considering how tanky TheShy is. They will get that one pick. They will stop the Herald critically.
LvMao knocked up TheShy, trying to buy space for SofM. On moving in, Light behind the play, trying to get closer to finish these kills off. There's one onto TheShy, and another kill for this Samira. 6 1 and 6. If there is anything important to talk about in this game, it is that Light is massive right now. He will take over unless someone can shut him down.
Talked about the... Oh, Doinb's in a bit of trouble. Or... Guess he's fine.
Still going. Angel trying to buy time, trying to buy space for his team. SofM on the back line. Solar Flare comes on through, but it's as SofM backs away, so not quite on the same page there from the Weibo members.
And look at the picture-in-picture as all this is going on. Ola's like, I joined one team fight. That's my quota for the game. I'm back to chilling in the side lane and just abusing towers. And I think this is the issue, right? Is it's hard to fight LNG's 4-man at the moment because Light is so strong, right? They have the Nautilus with that guaranteed engage. And then the Samira is just decimating anyone who gets close. But the thing is, you kind of have to be fighting the 4-man because the longer you leave Fiora in the side lane, the more problematic things will get. And this is just a beautiful engage from LvMao. Just catches Huanfeng, just slightly misaligned with the mini wave. Even tries to dash behind it. CC's layered, no counterplay. Huge shutdown as well for Samira.
Beautifully done. LvMao managing to find a very clutch hook. And, you know, he's had some awkward moments in this series, but trying to make up for that with a player like that. Very nicely done here. And LNG with a huge lead now. 3,000 in their favor at the 21-minute mark. And it's 35 seconds until the Hextech Drake. Aux, talk me through this. What's the game plan for either team as we approach the Dragon?
So in this situation for LNG, I feel like you just want to get that quick, snappy engage, burst out of target, get the resets for Light. For Weibo, it's a little bit trickier. The longer fights are probably going to favor them, right? That's when you start getting value out of the Viego. It's when Huanfeng can get value. We've seen those moments with the Zeri where you stack up your ult like constantly over the fight. So I really think Weibo need to approach this one cautiously and just try and dissuade the initial engage, right? If they can catch some CC on a Light, that can be a lot of value in that situation. But honestly, based on the position, it looks like they're just not even going to contest this Dragon, which is, you know, understandable given the gold discrepancy, right? But scary given the Dragon discrepancy.
Yeah, this is a dangerous game that Weibo are playing, and they feel they have to play, right? Trading up on the top side, at least they'll get a bounty on that side. In fact, no, bounties aren't even in play. So won't even get a bounty on the tower. That is quite unfortunate for Weibo. And on the side of LNG now, 3 Drakes back to back. It's going to be a Hextech Soul in 5 minutes time. It's going to be a pick onto SofM. The Blast Cone denied by LvMao. The knockup at least denied by SofM's ult. So he'll get out to safety, but Angel, he's not going to be so lucky. And he's actually walking towards them, trying to get himself out. And he will actually walk under the tower. I don't know how they're all getting away with this one. Is On enters the fray once more. Huanfeng trying to do damage from the back line, but it's LNG. It's all LNG right now. On already falls. Ala gets his ulti off on that one. 1 for 0, and LNG just grouping up and bodying them with their wallets.
It feels like one of those moments where it starts to feel like it's going in favor of Weibo, right? You saw Huanfeng ramping up with the damage, but he just can't go in, right? You can't dive forwards or you'll get CC locked down and burst, even though he is starting to ramp. And in those scenarios, these short-range comps, Zeri definitely does well. But as you said, LNG just too far ahead right now. Oh, Huanfeng.
Huanfeng's in trouble. Cleanse already used here as Tarzan has to back away. TP forced out here from TheShy. At least that'll be a tower in the mid lane. So again, just some small advantages. But look at Ala again, just in the side lane here. On wants the 1v1 again. Still 5 levels down. Hey, On has a shield. Ala only has a sword. So I'd argue in some ways, On has the advantage here. But in reality, he will get destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 items on Fiora, big spike, and I think it's the pressure's mounting, right? It's a 4,000 gold lead. The team fights are constantly going in favor of LNG, but they also have the Fiora to deal with. They also have the fact that it's Hextech Soul in 3 minutes, which is really a scary one to be going up against. It feels like Weibo in an uncomfortable position, and it feels like it's a struggle to find their way in on these fights. So this is an interesting camera angle, but they just catch out SofM trying to get over the wall.
It lollipops vertically as well, apparently. Never knew.
But yeah, I mean, you sort of see the momentum start to, even though they lose a member, it's this moment with Huanfeng where, like, he pops his ultimate, starts doing this AoE damage, and it starts to feel like, okay, maybe this is the decent fight, right? Everyone's getting chunked out a bit, but they just can't follow. It's so difficult for the Zeri to play out these team fights because whenever she goes in range, she gets checked by the CC.
Yeah, just keep your eyes on the burst fire from Huanfeng. That feels like pretty much the only way that these fights can be won at this point. That and Angel on this Ryze. He has finished his Fimbulwinter and his Everfrost, so getting relatively strong headed towards that Frozen Heart as a third item. Problem is, with this Ryze build, when you're behind, it doesn't feel anywhere near as effective. But at least the vast majority of the damage on the side of LNG is going to be that AD damage. So we'll get value out of all of those armor items. But Doinb, with 9 stacks of the Dark Seal, I think this Galio is going to be slamming pretty hard himself.
Like, so interesting that, you know, it used to be like Galio would be the one building tank, Ryze obviously building AP, and now we have tank Ryze and AP Galio.
Yeah.
That's how it is at the moment. SofM should be able to just make his way out there, but Tarzan just getting up in his face. And again, pretty big discrepancy, and time is kind of getting short on that next dragon. A minute 30. They're just going to start up the Baron maybe, or no, just clear out the vision, keep that as a potential threat. Weibo want to make their way in. You want to get some wards down there before the dragon starts. Often see teams lean in that direction, just threaten it, right, when you're trying to pull a team away. But it's just difficult to think how Weibo are going to manage this dragon, because if they lose the soul, things get extremely difficult. Their attempt might be a pick onto Ale, but SofM, you lose that, by the way, like hard.
Odd is here as well. He's desperate for that duel. He wants it so badly, but Ale, he's just afraid, you know. It's the wrath of the Solari. What can you say? I'd be scared as well if Leona came aggressively at me. It's like, she's best mates with Knight Solaire as well. So, you know, praise the sun. Anyway, Drake coming up in 45 seconds. I'm going to ask you a question I asked you last game. What's the win cons here? How does this happen for either team? For LNG, I feel like it's just walk forwards. But for Weibo,
literally,
how do they ever contest the Drake?
I feel like it needs to be a longer fight, right? Where LNG's engage is sort of mitigated. They can get some CC onto light, and Huanfeng carries. He's now got 3 items, and you saw like a little glimpse in the last fight how much damage you can do if he's unchecked. The problem is consistently dealing that damage. There's so much CC tools from LNG. Very hard to do, but if they're going to carry, it's going to come from him.
Angel checking the wave, just making sure that there's some priority there. On, happy to walk forwards. He is pretty tanky, but not tanky enough. And low HP already in this fight. Now, with the Galio ulti, it's going to be Huanfeng knocked up, and that's surely going to be it. LNG are just destroying Weibo today. Game number 2, nothing like the first. It's doing a great Everfrost as well. Double kill for him as TheShy, left alone, pulled back into the fray, and cut down by Ale, who is 3-1-3 on his signature Fiora. And TheShy can do nothing. That'll be soul. And, you know, that might just be game.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a massive swing in their favor now. Over 6,000 gold ahead. And the problem was, Huanfeng once again doesn't get to play the game. You even saw how heavily burst down light at the start of that fight. But he just doesn't get any opportunity to carry. We see the fight starts off on soaking a lot of damage. This burst damage comes through. But then it's LvMao who just seeks out the Zeri ult into auto, gets the dredge line, deleted. And after that point, it's like you have the Sion still alive, tank Ryze goes down. You just don't have the follow through. You're so reliant on the Zeri to carry. And really, it's not even on Huanfeng. It's just such a hard game to do so.
And it's like, you know, Weibo managed to get light down, right? That was the big goal of the fight, is kill light. But you're so far behind that this Fiora is still a carry in the team fights. Doinb and Tarzan doing a lot of passive damage over the course of things as well. The 10 stacks now on that Dark Seal from Doinb, who currently has a bounty. He's 3 items plus the Dark Seal plus boots. Like, he is no slouch when it comes to just DPS in the fight. So feels like the time where you can just kill the AD carry for Weibo has long since passed. And, you know, I called it as game at the end of that fight. And it definitely feels like that might just be the case. I'm not sure there's a way that Weibo can win this one unless it's a huge slip-up for LNG. LNG have to finish out strong now. They've got Dragon Soul. They've got complete control of the game. They can look towards a Baron. They have everything they could possibly need. They just need to play it slow and steady and cautiously.
Just so difficult. Like the Zeri, there's too many answers. And you're so reliant on it for damage, right? Because it is that tank Ryze. We're talking about how, as you know, LNG have all that DPS. It really becomes difficult when you have to do so much for a team when there's so many point-and-click abilities that can just shut you down. They are looking for Ale here.
Here we go. Ale on the bottom side. SofM to start this one off. Angel is here. TheShy is here. Everybody is here. The knockups galore. Ale does not have the damage to 1v4. This will be traded for Baron. But this is a trade that Weibo are opting into. They know they couldn't contest the Baron anyway, so at least they can get a pick.
Yeah, it feels like one of those things where this is no way at all a good trade, but you were probably going to lose the Baron anyway. You might as well get something off it. LNG, though, Soul in hand, Baron in hand, they are scary right now. The only consolation prize is that Arla's not going to have the Baron, because that would really be a thorn in their side.
Honestly, Arla not having the Baron is kind of crucial. That's a huge deal for the side of Weibo. It's an important pick. You know, I don't want to overstate it. They're still at a massive deficit. It's still not positive. But at least it's a silver lining for them, and maybe some kind of way into a miracle.
In these situations, I like to call it a copper lining. It's not quite a silver lining, okay? It's not. It's okay, but it's still a hard sell. And LNG, Arla's back on the map. They're going to be able to push up and use those Baron waves to apply the pressure. But actually just TP the Galio straight in. There is decent amount of wave clear on Weibo, right? But again, they're short range. That's the thing that makes it so difficult, is when you are short range and you're up against a Nautilus, so easy to engage onto you.
Tarzan in a 2v1 on the side of this play for now, as chickens will be taken by SofM and just trying to buy space for his team to siege in the mid lane. But so far, Weibo doing a really good job of just defending, and that's going to be a solar flare. They're going for the 5v4. SofM over the wall. Keep your eyes on him, but Light is the man to watch as well, building those style points on TheShy, and now TP from Arla. There's one onto on. TheShy in trouble. Fear from Tarzan and a stopwatch as well. Light here to shed some light on the situation. Triple comes through as he tears Weibo apart. The guns and then the sword from Arla as LNG decimate Weibo in game 2.
Absolutely crushed them. The decisiveness, they go for that dive, right? Game 1, such a back and forth. Game 2, LNG get a lead, and they don't hesitate for a split second. Light, an absolute monster in the Samira. And with that, they'll close this out and equalize this series. We're going to a game 3.
Oh, we certainly are, and it couldn't have gone any other way, could it? LNG showing up in game number 2, absolutely crucially, and managing to find themselves a win. Weibo with a lot to go back to the drawing board for after this game, because honestly,